Hi there. I have been tinkering with the bookmaking and running strategy that I introduced you to a couple of weeks back. I've been tinkering with something that is seeing something like a 25% boost in profits. So I thought I'd let you see that this evening. Just to recap, if you haven't seen those videos,
This market is now in play.
The bookmaking and running Dutchies everything in the field at higher odds. So we're asking for higher odds, and as the race progresses, those runners will drift, with the risk being one of them won't. But what we do is, once we get to all of those unmatched back bets taken, when we get to the last one, that one is cancelled. So we are ultimately left with one runner with a red on it. Now here's what I've been tinkering with. Each of these runners that have been backed, they obviously have a stake on them. And if you left things as they are, that money is tied up in the market. However, if you are any good at race reading, or you have any other info to hand to allow you to judge whether things are definitely out of the race, you can trade out of these individually. So you'll save some of the stake that's on each runner. And when you save some of that stake, what happens is your maximum green will increase and your worst case red will decrease. But that happens at the expense of you increasing the number of runners that will have a red on them. So you have to get it right, otherwise you could be in a bit of bother. So you see here we've got two runners left. They're probably out of it anyway, but essentially what all you're going to do is, let's say this one's out of it. I'm not looking at the race or anything, so I'm just making this up as I go along. But you'll see, if when they get matched,
Cancelling unmatched bets.
You'll see that your greens increase and your reds decrease, but we've got these extra reds now. Now I've gone for that one, and that was fairly risky because he looks as if he might go on to win. And if he does, we've actually wound up with a loss rather than a profit. Now that the finish of that race wasn't definitive. I'm not really sure which ones won that or not. If this one's won it, we've boosted our profit significantly. If this one's won, we've obviously lost rather than winning a smaller amount. And therein lies the conundrum. As I say, I wasn't paying attention to any commentary there, so I just went in and randomly picked a couple of runners to show you the change that you'll see. What I've seen over the past week when I've been tinkering with this is typically around about a 25% boost in the profits. So that might well be worth investigating. There's one more race tonight, so I'll do another one just to let you see that. Okay, off to Warwick for the final race of the day, 2 mile National Hunt Flat. Whilst that's running along, because this is going to take about 4 minutes, we'll just let that chug along. Let me just briefly switch back to the previous race, and you will see that we got the winner we needed with a profit of 55. Now if you recall, before I traded out, the potential profit was hovering around £12 if memory serves me correctly. So that's a significant improvement in profit. You won't get that all the time. As I say, it's usually around about the 25% mark. But that was a great result. Obviously, if you are doing this, you really want to make sure that you're good at race reading, you've got pictures, or at the very least you're listening to commentary, whereas I'm just making this up as I go along. So once again, we've got a couple of runners still left. There's no reason why you can't start trading out now on the runners that have already been taken. But again, you've really got to be confident of what you're doing. I would tend to suggest that you leave it towards the end. As I say, I've only been tinkering with this off and on for the past few days. So I have by no means got it down to a fine art. But it's certainly showing considerable promise as far as boosting your profits. But you will get the inevitable screw up where you've traded out of something that had a green on it and you've turned it into a red. Those are almost inevitable, especially when you start doing it towards the end of the race, and the runners that make it worth your while are the ones that are arguably still in contention. There's no point in trading something out that's sitting away up at, in the hundreds, because you don't actually save very much money. Right, so there's our last one taken. So it's all on Sunray Shadow is the one that we don't want to win. And we're looking at what, £25? So you might be happy with that. But as I say, we can go in and trade something out. Rocket Man's looking quite promising, so I'm going to leave him alone. And let's just trade out of St. Cristobal. He had £12 on, so I've saved £5 there. But of course, if he now comes in, we've got a bigger loss on him. So we've got two runners now with a potential red on. But we, as I say, we have boosted our potential profits. Now I did that relatively early. You might want to think about waiting until towards the end of the race. It's obviously up to you, and you've got to be sure that of what you're doing. You can see the Jackie Can's coming in quite significantly as well. Now he's got, where is he? Jackie Can's got £8.78 on him, but he's come down all the way down here. Let's just for giggles trade out of him as well. So you'll see that all of a sudden we've now got a potential profit of £56 and our max liability is sitting at 52. Unfortunately, the one that we had hoped earlier on was going to be the one to go for has obviously decided to pack it in. So that's the risk that you take. As I say, I was just doing that without paying any attention to the race. I was really just randomly picking numbers, horses, so you could see the numbers. But that's what I've been doing, and it's been quite interesting. So you can see there, Sunray Shadow was the last back bet to be taken. So he was cancelled, and he was up at, what was it, 60 odd pounds. So in actual fact, by doing that, he's the one that's gone on to win. But by trading all the others, we've actually cut our potential losses to 33. So even though we wound up with a loss still, one can argue that it was worthwhile doing in any case. Anyway guys, I hope you found that useful. Have a little tinker if you like, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.